but it goes all types of places. Okay, so
I'm cool with it.
You're cool with everything though.
Just going with the flow.
I think I want to call this episode energy management. I actually wanted to call it The Beauty is a Beast because I love the fact that you're a pretty girl who thinks like the way that you would expect like a stereotypically grown ass man to think. Like, I love the way your mind works. That's the reason why I wanted you to be on the show. And just thank you for agreeing to come.
Of course.
Because I know you've been on fancy podcasts like Joe Budden and them. And so you coming to the comedy studio that we tape at to do Humanized is a big deal for me.
Joe Budden does his podcast on like a basement.
Oh, shit. Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
It's a basement?
Yeah.
And I'm talking all this shit about my studio. Oh, I need to put some respect on my name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for anybody who is listening to this soft voice, why is your voice so soft and lovely? I need to work on that. I have like a radio disc jockey voice, like, welcome.
Well, no, you have a nice voice. I mean, that's what you...
It's my job to talk like a newscaster.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
You have a good like, hey, can I get a $10,000 voice?
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
For those of you who are not watching, we are talking to model, actress, entrepreneur, and general fitness badass Rosa Acosta. Pew 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 pew. I'm so excited to have you on the show. You don't understand how perfect this timing is because when I booked you to be on the show, I did not know that I would be on day 10 of my fitness journey.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Day 10, honey. I usually quit by day 7. So this
10
feels
is
like
good.
10 means like, okay, my body's like, oh, we're doing a thing. We're doing something, right? And I had my first real workout yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to start with like a rigorous walk. This old Latin couple in my neighborhood was going on a walk as well. And they outwalked me. And I felt very, I judged myself. Abuela and her man were walking faster than me the entire time to the point where I started to get in my feelings like I have to pass them.
Well, it's probably because they have been doing it consistently. So
Clearly.
It doesn't, I don't think fitness is about like age or, youth. It's just about consistency. So there's people that look...
She was in her 70s, Rosa. I got outwalked by a 70-year-old last night.
Yeah, no, it happens. I've been at yoga or Pilates, and I've been, kind of like outshadowed by like an older person.
And no part of your ego was like, oh, okay, look at you.
No, because they earned that.
That's true.
You're so I'm still at the beginning. If it's my first day, my first week, my first month, and they have been there, for a year or two.
I think I stalked this couple a little bit because then I started following. I didn't realize I was following them until I was like, I'm walking their route to see if I can pass them. This is stalking. And so I had to make myself like stop at the froyo place and do an about face. But no, they were in their 70s and they were power walking. You mentioned Pilates, which is interesting because I actually had this on the agenda. Someone has recently become very popular for that word, Lori Harvey. Because she was talking about how she got her abs and looked great at the Met Gala because she did Pilates. She eats 1,200 calories a day. I think she works out 2 a days. She uses unicorn tears in her tea. I don't know. She gave like a whole regimen, and the internet lost their minds. They were like, this is not healthy. And it was like a huge debate. Right. And I saw that you posted, see, this is exactly why I don't be telling y'all shit about what I do. Talk to a physician. Explain, would you have done what she did? Like, did you agree or disagree with her sharing her regimen like that? Because it was a lot of information.
Well, the thing with regimens and diets and workout programs is that in my opinion, they should be personalized. That's true. My workout shouldn't be the same workout that you do, unless we both started at the same time and we're kind of like at the same fitness level.
Right.
So when I first of all, the first thing is when I say what I do, nobody's gonna do it. I already know.
Oh,
I already know.
Because it's so strict.
None of my friends my friends like, I want to work with you. That lasts one day.
Oh, and then they is it because of they physically can't do it because their body said no, or is it because they mentally can't do it? Because there's a difference.
A combination.
That makes sense.
But so I really, when people ask me like, what do you do? I work out, I train hard, and I diet. But I don't go into details because my diet is actually made for me and my goals, how I want to look. And
Yeah.
we have looked into how my body works, and then we're applying like things.
But you've completely reshaped, like I saw a Throwback Thursday that you posted. Now this sounds like I'm stalking your story. Sorry. I saw a Throwback Thursday that you posted of you when you were a ballerina.
Yes.
That's a very different body.
Yeah, I was probably 60 pounds ago.
Are you serious? And Rosa, you're tiny now. You were 60 pounds
lighter.
So you were a handbag. You were a
Well,
feather.
actually, probably more than 60. Wait, how much do I? No, yeah, like about 60 pounds.
Rosa, that's half. Wait, okay. My mind is trying to do the math. I cannot imagine you 60 pounds lighter. So you were very, very thin.
Yes.
And I've heard, and please correct me, that ballerinas have to like diet to be super small. Is it for those lifts? Like, what's the reason?
Well, a man has to. Well, even if you're dancing alone, like dancing ballet is hard, and you have to look almost like ethereal, like you're flying, and you're just this like delicate,
a whisper,
thing. It's little like.
So you have to weigh 8 ounces to be a ballerina.
Yeah, and then also the man has to graciously be able to lift you with one hand for the most part.
Why can't he just be stronger and let me eat some cake? Like, okay, I
but
get
no,
it.
they are strong, but they have to, you have to make their job easier. So
That's true.
They are strong because they are gonna do it, but they have to also look graciously what they do in it. So they are not, it's different than lifting weights where you can just be like ground and throw them like they lift you up and they have to put you back very slowly,
But then I think about people like Misty Copeland who look like a hybrid of the typical ballerina, but she's a lot stronger than I'm used to seeing ballerinas look though.
But she's very small.
You're right. Oh God, you're right. She is tiny. She's just sinewy. So how did we go from a ballerina wearing 8 ounces to now being the badass that you are? Like, I literally feel like you need to be cast for Xena Princess Warrior, the reboot. I'm Rosa. Like, you look like you could kick over a horse. How did you go from that?
I probably can.
That was a flex, guys. If you guys follow Rosa on Instagram, she shows herself lifting 500 pounds with her feet and all types of stuff. How'd you go from that to this? Because that's a huge difference fitness wise.
Yeah, well, so when I was dancing, I had like a couple of eating disorders, and I went through like my share of like health issues.
Trying to stay small, yeah.
Right. And, I was dancing professionally the last 4 years that I danced. I was dancing for the only classical company. Well, at the time, it was the only classical company in my country.
And the Dominican Republic, guys, for those of you who don't know Rosa's story. Yes, Rosa's Dominican. My family's Haitian and Cuban, so technically we're from the same island. I love this.
Yes, we are.
Oh, I love this.
So, so when I moved to America, I stopped dancing. And I still wanted to stay active. So I was like exploring different things like Pilates and yoga and like other kind of ballroom dancing, like all kinds of other things. And, just also going to the gym. And then I kind of like fell in love with the sport of bodybuilding.
You mentioned you went to, I think one time I asked you, you said you went to Brazil.
I did.
And all the women in Brazil, I'm smiling right now thinking about it, but all the women in Brazil look like stallions. You said you wanted to look like a stallion too.
Yeah. I mean, if I still wanted to be like slim, right. After I stopped dancing, it's not like I stopped dancing and I was like, yes, I want to have big legs. I was actually fighting against the way my body naturally is. Like,
how is your body naturally? Because I'm so used to watching you work out so much. If you were to, God forbid, like just say, hey, I need a month or 2 off, would your body just like lose all that muscle mass? Like, what is your natural physique?
I don't know. I've been dancing since I'm 4 years old.
So you really don't have any idea because you're always doing something.
I assume that I will look like a lot like my mom. My mom and I have the same type of body.
She looks just like you.
I'm just muscular, but it's the same type.
So she's curvy, just not as.
She's curvy. We are somewhat curvy, not like the curviest. We're not guitars or nothing. We're more like cans of soda.
Wait, Rosa. Okay.
Like kind of thick, but all the way around.
Okay, Rosa, I don't know if you know what a can of soda looks like. Thickish.
Like kind of like, like this.
Oh, not the water bottle, like, Rosa.
Like thick, but all around. We're not like we're not lucky enough to have like the tiny little ways.
So you don't have that Penelope Cruz or the super no, Salma Hayek. You don't
Salma
have you
Hayek,
don't have the
no.
Salma Hayek body.
I definitely don't. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's very obvious that I don't have that body.
That is crazy.
I look very much like a footballer teddy bear.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna stop because this is the part where Rosa just roasts herself. What you guys don't realize is we taped the show at a comedy improv studio, and before we started taping, I said, Rosa, have you thought about doing improv because you're so naturally funny? And you said no. That shocks me. You seem like the perfect person who would do a comedy set.
You know,
if T.I. can do comedy, Rosa, why can't you? You're a lot funnier than him.
Well, I don't know. You know, I did Wildin' Out. I was a Wildin' Out girl for many episodes and then for many seasons.
Flex.
And then
Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out on MTV.
And then, you know, but Nick is my friend. And so Nick says, you know, I want you to be one of the comedians like on the team. And I did it one season and I, you know, he was like, I think you should go to like improv classes and I think you should do this. And I just told him no. I actually felt...
You told him no?
Yeah.
I think you're the only beautiful woman who told Nick Cannon no in a long time. But go ahead.
Well, you know, I usually don't say no to money.
Right.
However, I just felt well, you have to be there with this group of very talented like comedians.
Right.
Like not only did they were born with the gift, right? But you can tell that they have work on their craft. These people can improvise, they will rap, they will roast you. Like the whole thing is just crazy. And this is just like, and I just felt like I was taking space for a very talented person that was out there. Like for you know, for Nick to make space for me to be on the show, they had to say no to somebody.
But Rosa, you were talented. That could have still been your space.
No. No.
Not your ministry?
No, I know the kind of funny that I am. I'm funny with my friends.
Right.
You know?
No, you're funny on TikTok. You're funny on social media. You're funny. You dressed up as Tina from Bob's Burgers and did the infamous twerk, Rosa. That was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, but those are things that, you know, there's all kinds of types of like funny. And I just think like the kind of the improv funny that, you know, the Carlos Miller or Chico Bean or DC Young Fly.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I'm not there. And I felt like I was disrespecting them by being there.
Wow, that's very altruistic of you. Like to be like, hey, you know, guys, I don't want to take up this space. You're naming a lot of men. So you're a beautiful woman in this space with all these men with their egos and whatnot. What is it like being in that room? Because you get to see them like one of the boys. Like you're a beautiful woman, but I'm sure because I've hung out with you, you were treated like one of the guys because you're very pew 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 and straightforward. So let me tell you something. Rosa will tell you what she thinks, honey. So what was it like being in the space, like being in the boys club, not being a guy? Because you must have seen the underbelly of masculinity in that space, or just in any of those spaces that you've been in.
Well, they are great.
Yes, those guys are great, but men in general, when they get to guy talk, they are candid.
I don't think. I think they were
still thinking that you were a beautiful woman in the room, and they were still probably being nice because you were there.
I'm not sure. It's just like the way, the energy. Well, if we're speaking about Wildin' Out,
okay, let's start with Wildin' Out. Yeah.
So, Wildin' Out is like it's different. Yeah. This like we are all family. You know, it's just like it's amazing. You know, and nobody ever made me feel bad about being there. Mm-hmm. People were helping me and they were, you know, like doing everything they could to like make me feel good and like accepted. And these are people that have been doing this for decades.
So it's not a typical boys club. And I think I'm wondering now, is that because of Nick? Because I think usually when you see an environment like that where people are treated with such respect, it's usually because the head of the organization or the head of the food chain is saying, let's be good people. And he seems like a really sweet guy.
Nick is awesome. And he does
nobody has anything bad to say about him. Nobody.
Well, you know, and I feel like a lot of people will have the same story to tell about him. And Nick it's just like like when nobody believed in me, he did. Or, you know, when I people might not know that when I was going through something, or I didn't have a place to live, like he put me in an apartment. Like that's the kind of person that he's.
Aw.
And he doesn't only do it to women, because it'll be really easy for me to say, "Oh, Nick Cannon always like look out for me." People are like, "Of course, he wouldn't fuck you."
Yeah.
The truth is that he's done it to a lot of men, a lot
Look
of
at Jason Lee. Jason Lee was on
a
Wild
lot
Now.
of
Yeah.
women, a lot of, but he's done stuff beyond. I mean, some of us are never gonna hear the end of the stories, because some people don't even have a platform.
Yeah, that's true.
He helps a lot of people.
It's so crazy because I was working in an organization, I won't name them, and the CEO said we were hemorrhaging money. And we were like, I guess we're going to go under. And he was like, we have a meeting with Nick Cannon. He's going to try to help us. And I was like, Nick, what? How did Nick Cannon get? And so there's been so many times where I've heard people are in trouble, and I randomly hear Nick's name at the moment. Like, he's Batman. Nick Cannon is Batman, guys. This is the first exclusive that you've heard.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because now he's only known as being the father of many, many beautiful children.
Yes.
It's interesting when you see somebody that charismatic and who's that much of a good community person, but then you think about how they date, right? And I know that you are in a relationship, but we won't shout out your boo.
Yes.
We will not shout out Rosa's boo, but
make me blush.
He's not the infamous J-Dog. But like, what is your thoughts about dating in this industry? Would you ever date somebody in the industry?
Probably not. I never dated in the industry. Like an artist or an athlete. Oh, like the WNBA counts, right?
The WNBA definitely does count as something in the entertainment and sports field, Rosa.
Shut up, Rosa. So yeah, but that was a long time ago.
And for those of you who are like WNBA, let me tell you, Rosa is a fluid individual. I mean, I personally just be calling you gay to you. Rosa is equal opportunity. And I do think that there's a lot of women who are going to be listening to this. We're going to slide into your DMs, so be careful.
I don't check my DMs, so please don't.
Please don't slide into Rosa's. Ladies or gentlemen, leave her alone. You're very discerning about who you have in your space. And that's something that I'm just starting to finally learn. Like, okay, in LA, you can't have everybody be your friend. How do you figure out who you have around and who you're like, oh, they're just trying to get a look. Let me just be polite. Like, how do you discern that? Because you're really good at energy management.
I think it was just like, it's just practicing. I've been in LA for 12 years now.
Oh my God,
I have
12 years.
I think I always been good with people and
with reading people and being able to be like, this one's a little bit on some, yeah.
Yeah, but also, I'm for some reason I'm not that approachable, and so
really,
and so I don't get. It's not like there's a line of people trying to be my friend either.
Is it resting bitch face?
I don't know.
That is, that's crazy to me. When I met you, was it 2020? It was Valentine's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was the Valentine's episode of I'm Here for the Food. Shout out to people who've been following us since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost wore the same outfit, but it was in the laundry. I didn't feel like finding it. But like, I remember Melissa telling me, she's like, look, I'm not into women, but Rosa Acosta has big dick energy. So just don't look into her eyes for too long, because it's like, I'm like, what? And then I met you, and you were such a cat daddy. I was like, Jesus Christ, you did have big dick, but you were always very kind though. And so it's so interesting for me to think of you not being approachable, because since day one, I was like, she's really nice.
I think I approached the right type of people for me.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
Maybe that's why we clicked.
You're also a Taurus too. I think people who are listening to the show are gonna be like, Blue, how many fucking Tauruses?
I know.
We've had
a lot of us.
We've had a lot of Tauruses on this show. I've been celebrating birthdays for about 6 months now.
Well, I'm done celebrating birthdays. I have actually 2 more birthdays.
That's exhausting.
It's my trainer and another friend from the gym.
Oh, nice.
And they are Geminis, which are my least favorite Zodiac sign.
Rosa, how do you say that? You can't announce your least favorite. Okay, why is Gemini your least favorite Zodiac sign?
They are just bad people. And
wait, Rosa, so for those Geminis who are watching this show, this is called Humanized.
They're just really bad people, and also
the views of Rosa Acosta are not mine.
There's really not that many benefits to be a Gemini. The main benefit is that when the zombie apocalypse happens,
you know what?
The zombies won't be able to eat the Geminis because they will get an indigestion. So basically,
Rosa chose violence, guys. Rosa chose. So your trainer's a Gemini. How's she go? She's gonna hear this and make
I had told her.
You. What'd she say?
Well, she just says like, well, men and women Geminis are different. I'm like, all of y'all are trash.
Gemini, I've heard, is the most hated zodiac sign, and I cannot figure out why.
They are, yeah.
In a world where other signs who do dastardly things exist, so technically speaking, because you guys know I'm into astrology, Geminis are considered the most intellectually quick sign in the zodiac. Maybe because there's 2 of them. So they're very smart and they love adventure.
I wouldn't say that, but
no.
I think they are. No, I think they are moved by their intellect.
Yeah,
so
they're the most.
They love with their brain and not with their heart,
and that's where they lose you. You've already chose violence. You might as well just say it.
Well, actually, let me just say this also. My best relationship before, obviously, this one that I'm in now, was with a Gemini.
So wait, no, okay, Rosa. Okay, hold on, Rosa. You can't say both things. You can't say that your least favorite sign, but they were your best relationship.
Yeah, I can actually. Sue me if I can't.
Oh, well, look, I'm a Taurus with a Gemini rising. So you love me and you hate me at the same time. You know what's so crazy is I recently, and I haven't actually talked about this before. I was going to wait until we had another psychologist on the show, but screw it. We'll talk about it with Rosa Acosta.
Yeah, I have all the credentials. What are you talking about? Let me pull
Rosa.
credential from right here.
Same difference. But I recently got diagnosed with being neurodivergent. And neurodivergent means like a high functioning form of autism. So I assimilate in the regular world. But the thing about being neurodivergent and having what they used to call Asperger's is I'm very, whatchamacallit, sensitive to words. It makes you very word sensitive.
So who diagnosed you?
A clinical psychologist. So yeah, I didn't.
And why were you there?
Because my friend was like, you're thank you, Rosa. What are you, Barbara Walters now? The interview has switched. No, my friend was like, you're really bad at realizing when you're not safe with people that you love. Like you have good instincts. Well, like, so if somebody was doing you dirty, you'd be like, oh, she's on some snake shit. Let me go away. I'm like Forrest Gump. Like, I love her. She didn't mean, like, my brain cannot figure out when someone that I love doesn't mean me well, because I'm so literal that if you say the right things, I take you literally, even if your actions are saying something else. So the part of your brain that can, like, look at Rosa's face, the part of your brain that can differentiate between actions and words, my brain doesn't pick up on that. So people be like, Blue, you're so smart. How did you not know she was on some fuck shit? And I'm like, because she said the right thing. Like, my brain does not compute nonverbal bad things. And
is there like a cure for that?
There's the therapy for you to like start to figure out people on some fuck shit. There's also a therapy of having friends like you who are like, Blue, you wouldn't think. And all my friends who I've told I'm neurodivergent, they were like, that's why I'm always looking out for you, because I'm the friend that people be like, Blue is sweet and she's smart, but if there's a snake in her midst, we have to look out for her. And for a long time I didn't have language around that. Now I know that it's just a brain thing and it's not my fault, right? You're the complete opposite of neurodivergent.
Yes.
What I can't see, you smell it from like around the corner.
Yeah.
And also too, it's a good thing to tell my friends too, because I think a lot of my friends used to think I was being difficult from being word sensitive. Now that I know I have a thing, like, I don't want to call it a disability, but now that I know I'm word sensitive, I can be like, hey, don't use ugly words around me because I'm going to get my feelings hurt. It's a whole thing, right? And the beauty about having language around how my brain works is now I know who's safe and who's not. And I love people who are very direct. You are very direct.
I try to. I don't
no,
think
you don't try. You succeed. You're very direct.
I don't think I always been.
Really?
Yeah, because I am an empath and I don't want to like hurt people, but I have, also realized that can be me and the person that I'm trying to protect in the ass. So
that's true. Yeah.
Like.
So how do you, if you pick up something that might hurt somebody that you love, how do you discern what to share and what to let them figure out on their own?
Well, this is really interesting because I have stories from, that date from when I was in high school and in elementary school. Like, I remember we had a friend and she was very lovely and she was a sweet girl, but her armpits smelled really bad.
Oh.
And we didn't know how to tell her, And so we decided to do a raffle for a kit that has like a deodorant, lotion, body spray.
Y'all set up a fake raffle just to get her to put something on her armpits?
and she didn't want to buy the number. She didn't want to enter the raffle.
And it was rigged for her to win because she needed the products.
She was gonna win because we were just trying to give it to her in a way that we didn't hurt her.
Right.
She didn't want to like enter the raffle, so somebody had to come and be like, "Okay, I'm just gonna enter for her. Like, just
You're like,
give me
but
this
you
one
won.
number."
Please take it.
Yeah. And it's happened to me a couple of times where, you know, I had a friend that wasn't just looking good.
Okay, unpack not looking good. Did she look homeless? Like,
It was a guy.
oh, did he look?
He looked like a depressed uncle.
That makes sense because depression actually, one of the tenets of depression is hygiene goes out the window. When people are depressed, they don't take care of their hygiene.
It wasn't hygiene. It was just
disheveled.
It was just, yes. It was just like a look.
But here's the thing about being a model is like, you can be like, hey, love, you know, this is what I do for a living. Let's fix your look. Like, you could lean on that and say, hey, this is what I do. How did you tell him that he looked crazy?
Well, I didn't at the beginning. I just bought this person a bag of clothes and things. I was like, you know, I think this will look great on you. Like,
I'm seeing a pattern here that if somebody is not, so you're like, basically, honey, if I buy you deodorant, you smell.
Yes.
If I give you gum.
No. Because
I'm joking.
But you know, and then the person actually was really not upset, but it was the
he
reaction.
was upset about free clothes? Oh, sir, you living wrong. If Rosa Acosta tries to trick on you, you say thank you.
Right?
That's weird.
Yeah, but you know, then we had a conversation and he was, you know, he wasn't getting it. I wasn't trying to go there, and then I lost it, and I said, "Man, you just look ugly as fuck." I just didn't want to tell you, but
oh my God,
you look fat, you look old,
oh
you look
God.
hunch, you hunching.
Still friends? This is why Tauruses get in trouble, y'all. For y'all who are watching the show, this is why, because Tauruses are known as being the blunt sign. We get in trouble for that.
But I, you know, I'm gonna come nice at the beginning.
You're gonna start off nice, and if you still don't get the hint, I'm gonna tell you look ugly.
But no, it got to the point where he was almost pressuring me, like, why did you even got me that? Like, it was just like,
so he was being really defensive, and you had to be like, look, you look crazy. I was trying to help you. Well, it's so funny. I guess you haven't outgrown that because you've given me similar gifts, but instead of deodorant and clothes, you've given me a massage and a facial because I was deeply stressed.
Well, but I don't gift. Okay, so I don't only gift based on you know, like if
deficit.
Exactly. Like
no, girl, that massage, I was stressed. I need that. That's
right.
A good example. I was stressed as shit, and you sent Freddie and his magical hands to my house, and I slept like a baby. Like I was supposed to come to your house afterwards. I passed out on the couch.
Yeah, there's things that I love, like, you know, my massage is like my weekly treat, and and so I like to like gift my friends those things because I love them, and I think that I have an idea that it will be something that they will love. Or
y'all hear it here. Rosa loves me. No, Freddie is amazing, and I actually have to book a session with him again because I'm not stressed anymore. I just need it because now I'm not eating as much and I'm working out more. My body's like, what are we doing?
Right.
I think the more you work out, what I didn't realize, and I think I told you this previously, is recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
after
we were talking
30,
about that.
Recovery becomes a lot just as important as the workout itself.
Right.
Because the burnout, cartilage, like when I twisted my ankle, I couldn't walk for a week. That was very humbling. Have you ever had a mobility thing? I've never had an injury my entire life. So to get my first like injury after 40, I was like, this is humbling. People were saying, just ice your leg every 20 minutes. And I was like, who's going to get the ice, honey? I live alone.
Right.
And you live alone too. So like you have dogs. You could train one of your dogs probably. Train Lulu or Princess to get the ice for you.
I don't think they are not that smart. Thank God they are cute.
Damn.
But they are not like the smartest dogs.
I love them. Don't say that.
They are so sweet. And they are great companions, but not the kind of dog that you'll take to like a competition.
Can you imagine Princess in the competition? So Rose has a dog named Princess that I think is me in dog form. She's just sturdy and has resting bitch face, but she's sweet as hell. You just have to get past the initial resting bitch face.
Everybody loves Princess.
She is so... Lulu, on the other hand, is a hot butt.
Yeah, because Lulu is young.
Lulu's with the shits.
She's a puppy.
Lulu is with the shits.
Yeah, we're actually celebrating her birthday. I told you.
I'm going to Lulu's birthday party. Y'all listening like Blue, you're going to Rosa's dog's birthday party. Yeah. I think I actually peed within the same minute that you sent it. I was like, I'm there. Let's go. Can't wait. No, because I want to get a dog so bad. And I feel like being around your dogs will let me know if I can be a good dog mom. What makes a good dog mom? For those of you who are not aware, Rosa's a huge animal advocate. She loves rescuing dogs. Your heart is so big for animals. And
I love them, yeah.
And I'm at the place now where I had a male friend tell me that I'm not allowed to get a dog because when a woman hits 40 and gets a dog, it means she's given up on love. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that because dogs don't take on the space that a lover would.
Yeah, but he cited that he knows a lot of women in their 40s who have dogs that they are using as children and as husband replacements, and
they could never be.
And I'm just like, that doesn't seem comparable. But
they
he kept
could
on telling
never
me
be. And if anybody's trying to get a dog to fill the void for a husband or a child, it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a total different thing, and it's amazing, and it has some components, of
they're childlike,
the
though.
relation, and even like the relationship. Like there's a time where your dog is not quite they always gonna be like babies in our eyes, but like think about when your dog is like a senior and it needs to be diapered or it needs medication.
Oh, like McCoy. Yeah.
Right. And so I think the biggest thing about having like animals would be that you don't want to give up on them no matter what.
It's pure love.
And they are going, you might get lucky and have a puppy that lives a full healthy life, but you just might have like 2 great years and then boom, something happens. And if you're not ready for it, the worst, you shouldn't get him. They are
that's the part.
They are a commitment that, because all they have is us. So imagine like a dog, spending like 2, 3, 4, 5 years of their lives with you, and then they get sick, and maybe you feel like you can't take care of them, and now you throw them at the shelter. They are confused and hurt. They don't understand what's happening. The environment at the shelter, I don't know if anybody's I volunteer at shelters many times, and it's really stressful for them. They don't get
disorienting. They don't know what's happening.
They don't go out there like in a smaller, kind of like area type of cage. And if they have health issues, most likely they will be euthanized first, because the shelter cannot spend money on if your dog needs surgery or any type of treatment. Like they'll just go first on the list.
I've heard a lot of people say, and because I do think you as an animal rights advocate, which is interesting because we've had mental health advocates, we've had LGBT advocates, we've had feminist, like women, like Black Lives Matter advocates, but I don't think we've ever had an animal rights activist. So we can check this off the list for Humanized. You guys often tell me, and tell me if you agree with this, that don't get a designer $10,000 dog, go to a shelter. Why do you guys advocate so much to go to the dogs that are rescues instead of getting the fancy ones?
So breeding dogs is actually, when you support that, you're supporting a terrible business.
Oh, wow.
Especially if you're a woman, just imagine that you're like locked in and so the females, all they have them do is give birth one time after the other.
Oh, wow.
They take the puppies, they sell them. If one of the puppies has a birth defect, they euthanize them or just
discard them.
Yeah
that sounds a little bit
so
inhumane.
When after 5 or 6 years of giving litter after litter, those dogs usually have tumors in their
because they're just there for breeding.
So they throw them at the shelter, and then there's another dog dying. Like there's zero love for the actual animals. And it's a terrible thing to support.
But so many people in LA love getting fancy designer dogs. Do you think they are aware of this? Because
I don't know. Yikes. Some people don't want, and some people don't care either. They want what they want.
That makes sense.
I think if you really love dogs and you really want to save a life, you should adopt. There's tons of amazing dogs at the shelter?
I think that by the end of this year, I might get a dog. And the reason why I think I want a dog is because I want to keep my heart supple. Because I recognize that when you live alone and everything's about you, where you're completely alone with no pets, everything's about you. Like my plants are about as much as my heart stretches on a daily basis. Something's in my throat. And so I realized that when you have an animal, it keeps your heart like thinking about something other than yourself, right? And I don't want to be one of those people who's like single and doesn't have kids and doesn't have to worry about anybody by herself. And then she gets into a relationship and is like, oh shit, I got to worry about you and what you do and X, Y, and Z. When you have an animal, you can't be that selfish. I've had
Yeah.
exes who I thought were assholes, and then I saw them with their dogs, and I was like, "Oh, look at you having a heart, a little bit."
Yeah, dogs are very special, and anybody that wanted to get one, I will obviously, want them to like go there. But I also like want people to like think about it.
Yeah.
It's a life commitment. You get them, and no matter how hard things get, like you shouldn't give up on them.
Watching my friend, I had a shout out to my friend Sarita Russell in Baltimore. She loves dogs and has had a dog the entire time I've known her. Watching her, how devastated she was when her dogs passed away, scared the shit out of me.
Well, yeah,
She
it's
fell into like a depression when Elijah and Cookie died, and so I was just like, "Ooh, because dogs only live like 7 years."
no, they can live longer. It depends, but yeah, I will say the average will be between 10, 12 years.
That is
But
not a long time.
they can go a little longer. But my I think they are too perfect to last longer than that.
Oh, it's so
You
that's
know?
what people be saying about Aaliyah. She was too perfect to last. Could you date somebody who wasn't into animals?
Yeah. Mhm.
How do you reconcile that? Because there's a movie. There's an old. What's in my throat? Let me drink some water. Hold on.
Get some
I haven't
water,
been
girl.
drinking water, guys, because part of being in a fitness journey is that now I associate water with running to the bathroom.
Yes.
I have water PTSD from the past 10 days. I go to the bathroom every hour on the hour. How do you live like this, Rosa?
I barely leave. I live in the bathroom.
Yeah, part of being fit means you live in the back. My God. No, so there's a movie from the 90s, to bring it back, called Must Love Dogs. And the whole premise was she could not date somebody who didn't love dogs. When I met you and I realized how much you loved animals, but it wasn't a deal breaker in relationships, that surprised me. Because to me, having animals is like a whole lifestyle. It's like being vegan.
Yeah, well, and I've been vegan before,
Oh my
and
God.
I have cooked meat for my significant other.
So you just are have a whole live and let live thing.
I I like to live my life the way I like to live it,
Uh-huh.
and then I let people live their lives the way they want to live it. I would love to, like, if you care and if you want me to, I can guide you or I can teach you some of the things that work for me and so on, but I'm never pushing anything, and that goes for
But romantically speaking, what if you start living in the same house? Suddenly, wouldn't that be an issue if you're in the home with someone? And
yeah, it's not gonna be perfect, but you can meet your person in the middle,
that's true.
like
That's very like level headed of you. Because some people are like, no, if you don't like what I like, I know people who literally say I'm a vegan who can. There's a guy on Instagram called Shaka Bars, whatever. He won't date anybody who's not vegan. Like he is like, if you eat
no, and
meat,
yeah,
then
and
you're going to hell, and your body's full of swine, and like
yeah,
he's really
no, and
adamant
I
about it.
understand, and I understand when people have that stance as well.
Yeah.
I understand, both like situations. I just feel like there there's I think there's a solution for if both parties really want to like make it work.
Yeah.
There's a solution.
You're being very tourist right now. We're like, let's figure this out, babe. I think for me, one of my problems is I feel like I can figure out anything if I love somebody. And I've recently realized that love is not enough.
Well, but I didn't say that I could fix it. I say if we both.
Rosa said pronouns matter.
I didn't say just me.
I said we.
I'm not fixing, right. I say if we both want to, we can find the solution. But I cannot find the solution alone. Neither can the other person.
Yeah.
So,
So you're not an enabler, because I'm a recovering enabler.
no.
I used to be the kind of person where I felt if I loved you, I could drag us across the finish line. And I've recently realized that it's not, like, I can't do it anymore. Like if you're not mutually into something or into fixing something, like I had a friendship recently and I was like, yo, I'm really, really hurt because every time I invite you to hang out, you're excited to hang out. You thank me for thinking of you. but the entire time I've known you, you've never once asked me to hang out. So like I'm constantly getting texts saying thank you for thinking of me. I would like to send one back. And so I realized in that friendship, this was somebody who was really comfortable coming into my space, but had no interest or any kind of thought about offering me into their space.
Right.
The old me would have just kept on inviting them out. The new me this week was like, no, I don't want friends who are in my space but won't let me into theirs. I think we should figure that out or we shouldn't be friends.
Right.
And that's a new thing for me to set the kind of boundary. But I feel like you set those kind of boundaries all the time, which is funny because you're so generous. When I first met you, I was like, Rosa, I know you rich and you successful and you got... Rosa got jobs. Rosa's an entrepreneur, guy. She's going to lie to y'all and tell her she's a regular person. Lies.
I'm not rich. I am.
You are rich in the way that it counts. Okay.
I'm a poor little girl that came here from the Dominican Republic with like $60 and a chicken under my
Cue
arm.
the music. Rosa has a business. You want to shout out your business? I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah, Cosa Mia.
Because I always say Casamigos and I know it's not Casamigos.
That's the other.
That's the other one.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, you have a clothing line. You literally like are in a show. Shout out your show real quick. We want people to know where they can find you.
Yeah, it's called Johnson. It's on Bounce TV, and we second season comes up July 10th on Bounce TV, or you can watch it on the Brown Sugar app.
And what character do you play?
I play a very spicy Latina named Bianca Torres.
So nothing like you.
No, she's actually...
Her name is Rosa.
No, she's we're not the same. She's actually...
How are y'all different?
So she's like an Instagram model, you know.
Again, how are y'all different?
No, she's like young and...
How are y'all different?
She's very young and young-minded.
Okay, that's different because you think like a rich old man. Okay, that's very different. No, you think like your name is John and you have a 401. Yeah.
And she also I will say a little immature, a little more free than I would be.
People are surprised by how reserved you can be.
And everything.
I feel like through a whole phase. Is she going through a whole phase on the show?
I mean, for anybody that saw the first season, I started as the love interest of one guy, and I ended up sleeping with one of his best friends. I didn't know.
Whole shit. That's called whole shit.
She didn't know.
That is whole shit, Rosa.
Okay, well, she didn't know that they were friends. But the guy...
Did she stop when she found out?
Yeah, but now yeah, you have to watch the second season. It just gets worse, but yeah.
No, I have to watch. You please send me a link because you know I suck with stuff like this.
I will.
It's so funny how, and we were talking about this, like you are not an enabler. I love that about you. You're good about setting boundaries. You're also not the fast butt. Like people would think that attractive women who have an Instagram following and who dress sexy are like on some hoe shit. But in reality, Rosa, like you're very like, I don't want to say conservative, but you're very reserved.
I wouldn't think I'm conservative. I'm like actually very open-minded.
No, you're open-minded, but you're reserved.
I wouldn't do. Yeah, I wouldn't do. There's things that I don't have a problem with. I just wouldn't do them. But I don't have a problem with other people doing them.
That's been my philosophy as well. Like I actually went through a whole phase. Did you go through a whole phase at all?
No. See, I haven't had a chance because I've been, you're
an open-minded conservative. That's what we're gonna call you.
I was, I went from like a 5-year relationship, and then I was my very first boyfriend was like 5 years, and then I was with somebody for like 2 years, and then
my mom habitually monogamous.
Like and so my mom say, you're like 24. You don't have to marry every person that you date. You're young. This is your 20s.
But you should just like so you want to
date. Date a little bit. Like maybe date 2 guys at the same. Just go out. Like date.
Oh, your mother was pushing you to be more free in that way.
Yeah, and I was like, Mom? Yeah, I'm going to date 2 people, and then I ended up like the next guy that I met. I was already in a relationship with him for like 2 years again.
See, you're habitually monogamous. Why do you think your relationships usually end? If you had to like think about it. Because if you are a nice person who makes their own money, who's beautiful, who is open-minded and all these things, for you, why do relationships tend to end?
I think, well, this is terrible.
It's called Humanized. You can be imperfect. It's okay.
So 2 things. One, I think that towards the end, we don't love each other like a man is supposed to love its woman and a woman is supposed to love like a man.
Unpack that. What do you mean by that?
like we're like the homies. We become
Oh, it
like
becomes friend zoney
we
or
became more of a maybe family, like related, like cousins or something.
so the passion died out in the romantic.
Yeah.
We're in a relationship kind
And
of
I
way.
tend to go for the nice person. So
Mm-hmm.
if there's somebody that I have a connection with and I know that person is not good for me, I will not touch that. I will not look that way. But if there's somebody that I don't have like this crazy connection with, but I just feel like we could build something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with that person.
Yeah,
So
you got bull problems.
I'm
Yeah.
always gonna I always pick the right thing on paper,
The stable thing. Would you
Yeah.
ever do something dangerous now that you have that hindsight? Would you perhaps go after the this is a risk but it feels good person?
Absolutely not.
Oh, that sentence ended
But
differently.
the other thing too is that most of the people that I like, at least the guys that I dated in the past, I want to say 10 years, 11 years, they all went through the same thing. Like I think they were just like, oh, they care for me so much and they love me so much that they put me in like a little cage. They were like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want nobody to touch her, including myself. So I was just
Oh, so
there,
you want a
like,
pedestal as like almost like a trophy rather than a person.
yeah.
What's the
And so,
biggest difference between dating guys and girls if you had to like think about it? Because for me, I lived in DC for a long time and dated a lot of women, and a couple guys, and I came to LA and dated, and now it's been mostly men, and there's a huge difference for me. What's the big difference for you between dating men and women?
I think I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, and I think that women are just more emotionally intelligent,
Yep.
most
Amen.
likely to go to therapy,
Yep.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
better looking,
Oh wait, Rosa, wait,
make more money,
wait. Okay, again,
financially more independent.
she chose violence again. Okay, I will say that I am stunned by the lowered emotional intelligence of a lot of the really good men that I've met. And I think they're socialized to be less emotional. Like I think women are encouraged to be emotionally intelligent, and men are not. Men are encouraged to just pound on their chest and seem strong and powerful,
Hmm.
but they're not really encouraged to be introspective.
Right.
And I've had a lot of courageous conversations with last week with people, and the one with the men haven't gone as well. Like the women have been amazing. Like they've showed up for me. Like, yes, you're right. Thank you for the feedback. Let's build together. And the men just got defensive.
Yeah, and not to say that there
And this is not
aren't
all
like
men. I'm just saying that
right in
in society,
general.
this is what
Yeah,
tends to
in
happen.
general. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, I think a lot of people will agree that women are better looking,
I mean, I think men will definitely
even
agree with that. Yeah.
even if you are straight. Like visually, like women just
Rosa, you're so gay.
but women are just better to look at, and that's just
Yes, women are beautiful. That's true.
yeah. They're like if you put the two bodies, like if you put the best looking guy
Mm-hmm.
naked and the best looking woman naked, the best looking woman is gonna like it's just gonna win.
Said just like a homosexual.
But no jokes.
No.
All jokes aside,
Women are beautiful.
yeah, better looking. These days, women usually are better in a better position financially.
I will say this: there's a lot of lesbians probably who, because we're approaching Pride Month, who are watching this like, wait, Rosa Acosta thinks we're beautiful. You sure you don't want to turn off your DMs after this episode?
No,
People are gonna be like, Rosa.
no.
Do women approach
I'm
you?
enough. I have enough right now in my life. It's good.
Do women approach you when you're out and about?
No, nobody
Really?
approaches me, and if it ever happens, it'll be a guy that's not 21 just yet and is riding a bike. I mean, if you have like it's a guy
Young and dumb.
is an older, refined, good-looking man driving a Rolls Royce, won't look at me. The kid in the bicycle,
Uh
yo ma,
huh. You
excuse
looking
me.
good. That's so wild to me. Do you see
Yeah,
yourself and do a gut check? Do you see yourself ever like? Could you see yourself getting married in your old years?
I am. What you talk?
No.
What you talking about?
I'm so done. I know you're in a relationship, but you guys are okay. Marriage, okay.
Yeah.
I personally, and this is gonna be so funny. I've talked about wanting to be married in the show before. I actually think I'm at a place now where I only want to be married in the right circumstances. Like there's some people who want to be married by any means necessary. I'm more so.
It's not that big of a deal. Trust me, I've done it.
My friend Mandy said
it's not my first time either.
She said that she makes too much money to get married.
Get that?
My friend Mandy was like, she's like, I just make too much money to get married because I would lose money by getting a husband. And I was like, oh, I never thought about that.
I probably wouldn't do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's so funny because I think we're entering this phase now where the end game looks different for women.
I think yeah,
there's more opportunities than just married and babies.
Yeah, it made sense for us, but I think in the future I probably wouldn't do it again.
I think in my future I just want to be in a healthy, loving relationship.
That's great.
And whatever shape that takes, I just wanted to be with somebody who's emotionally intelligent. Because one of the things that I
and that you want that to be a man,
Rosa.
Good luck.
Rosa keeps choosing. Yeah, I'm gonna find the one emotionally intelligent black man in LA.
Ooh, and he gotta be black. You're really narrowing down your
the
selection.
This is like Willy Wonka. I'm just gonna roll the dice. But I really do want somebody emotionally intelligent, and I know now that the biggest deal breaker for me, and I want to know what your deal breaker is too, is I cannot be with someone who cannot take feedback without being defensive. Like it's almost one of those things of if I say something hurts me, like even if you disagree, let's talk through it, but don't attack me. And I think a lot of men, when you say, hey, this thing that I want, you're not doing it. Can we discuss how do I get it? All they hear is I'm inadequate, and they respond as if they're inadequate rather than seeing it as an opportunity to grow. You know what I mean? And I just need to be able to like talk things out, people. And I'm the kind of person where I can have really difficult conversations as long as I feel safe. The minute I feel unsafe, I shut down. And I think a lot of men are not equipped to keep women safe emotionally. Yeah. Rosa, don't make that face. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or Patreon, if you see me and Rosa at a lesbian club, just know that it was probably her idea.
We were at the lesbian club.
We did go to a lesbian club together.
Yeah.
Them strippers were dancing. They were, honey. And I think you and Takara's friends were like dancing that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, them strippers were. They looked nice. They were very attractive. And I have a video. I don't even know if I posted it of you just like making it rain on them. You were very generous. Yeah. That's the question I have before we wrap up. I know this hour's going by quickly.
Yeah, I know.
I tell people all the time that it's a fast hour and nobody believes me. And then I'm like, hey, it's almost over. They're like, hey, we just started. As a generous person, because I remember when I first became friends with you, you were so generous, and I know what it's like to be the generous friend. I was like, Rosa, I know that back to you being rich. This is back to the original point.
I don't know what she's talking
Rosa,
about.
I know you got all these
If the
businesses.
IRS comes for me, I'm going to tell them to go to your house.
I know you got all these businesses and whatnot, but I'm not comfortable being in a friendship where I don't feel like I'm giving something back. I went and found you the most random gift. Just to feel like it was a dumbbell water bottle.
Yeah.
Rosa's favorite color is pink. And she works out all the time. So I found this water bottle that is shaped like a pink dumbbell that you could also use as a weight. I don't know if you know that, but you can also use it as a weight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I got you something. It makes me think of you. And I was like, she's probably gonna think I'm so corny. But you were sweet enough to post it.
Yeah.
I'm the person.
Like it.
I just want folks to know that like I see you, and I want you to know that it goes both ways. I don't want anybody to ever feel like Blue's just here for the ride, because I know what that feels like. How do you, as such a generous person, reconcile with, let's say, having friends who are not as successful or affluent, or who are just like, how do you manage that? Because I know some people, like, you'd be the perfect person for a bad person to be like, oh, Rosa's nice to me, I can take for her, she's so generous. But there's something about you that I don't feel like that happens to you very often.
No, it doesn't. I mean, probably the only time that it happened was the person that I gave that was looking really ugly.
Oh shit. We're back to this.
But I just want to say all my friends are, they give me, 100% to their capacity.
Oh, I love that. That's a great way of looking at it.
Not everybody can give you material things, but they'll give you time, or they'll give you other things. And then there's, sometimes it's not, I mean, you bought me like the $2 tacos, and I'm gonna feel equally, you know, if you took me to the taco truck and bought me some tacos and I was hungry, that
Yeah.
does the same thing that if I really wanted a Chanel purse and you got it for me. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, that's very sweet. Yeah.
Like it depends. Like in the moment, like if in the moment I really want a plant or some flowers or whatever,
It's
you know
so
what I mean?
funny when people look at you. The biggest misconceptions are would be that you're a gold digger, that
I
you're a
am. I
hoe.
am. That's not a misconception.
Rosa,
I am.
it's called Humanized. Y'all gonna get
I
Rosa
am.
Acosta.
If anybody, if this thing don't work, the next person, you better reload it because I'm just.
Rosa is not a gold digger. She
I
plays one
am.
on TV.
I am. No, I am. I am. Do not believe this lady. She just been knowing me for like a year or so. I am.
Rosa's one of the most generous, sweethearted friends that I've ever had. When I was going through a really rough patch at the end of the year, you really showed up for me, like literally showed up.
That's great, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a gold digger.
I was trying to pivot, girl. Yes, you're a gold digger. She's a great friend. She's a great friend and also a very strategic gold digger.
Yes. Right now, my partner and I are not like in great terms because I asked for a farm for my birthday
Here we go with the farm.
and I didn't get it.
You know what's so crazy? I now understand why people want farms. I was talking to Damage about this in the previous episode. Like, people are in LA to be seen. I want to make enough money to disappear. Like, I want to be to the point where my business is generating passive income. I have an infrastructure around. And if I want to just buy a farm like Khalees with my family and go raise heirloom tomatoes and just raise like, I want to be able to do that. Like, I don't need to be constantly on the scene. You surprisingly are not somebody who's constantly on the scene either. Like, you pick and choose where you go. How did you stop yourself from getting pulled into that hot girl? I have to constantly be at every premiere vibe that a lot of women who look like you but who don't move like you, they fall prey to that.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I think that for women, especially in this industry, it is kind of like they are like setting us up. I've seen many women that come from the same background as I am, like video girls or whatever, and fast forward like end of their career, they are like older now, and there's nothing to show for all those years of making lots of money
and helping men and helping men and people in the industry look good. Like, yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons is because if every week I have to go to 2 to 3 events and do my hair and makeup for each one, because if I don't, if I don't, I'm gonna look greasy in those like red carpet pictures, right? Unless you know how to do your own hair and makeup like professionally, not like
she said greasy, y'all.
Yeah, but for in my opinion, it is a setup. Like women come into this industry and we have to spend so much money just to show up.
Yeah.
And if you don't show up in the way that people expect, you get criticized. It does it does actually the opposite of like what you intended to do.
Yeah.
So I pick and choose. I have a budget that I don't go over.
It's so hilarious for you in this budget. I've heard about this budget before.
Well, I'm trying to open a dog rescue in Dominican Republic.
Oh, that's so sweet. And that's the thing I will say too is I know a lot of beautiful women who make money and who leverage and monetize being beautiful women in this industry. And you're one of the few that I can say has figured out how to be self-reliant and to not be a slave to that machine. Like I've mentioned it several times, and I keep on saying this because I want the audience to hear this. You have a business outside of the look, right? And you invested, you bought a home, you have a passion with dogs, and you're working on the dog rescue. Like, you have diversified your portfolio so that you're not a slave to beauty. And I think that's what makes you a beast to me. I mean, this episode is going to be called The Beauty is a Beast because you think like a beast. Like, you're a beautiful woman, but you think like a beast. And I wish more women who are seen in society as being conventionally attractive recognize that that's not all they get to be.
Right. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, in any ways, like,
there's nothing wrong with it until you can't pay your rent. Like, you need to be like, you need to be able to take care of yourself, sis. Like,
right.
Being cute's not enough. You need to be able to make sure that if, God forbid, that gig or that man or whatever come up you have falls apart, that you can be self-reliant. And
right.
you're the most self-reliant person that I have met in this sector. And I know a lot of girls in this sector.
Oh, you're so sweet.
and accurate. You're very self-reliant, and that's a huge thing because a lot of women that I know are so dependent on somebody else to like make it across the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at them.
But you can teach them. You might want to teach a class, and you're an immigrant on top of that too. So like, what advice would you give to someone who is in LA? And this is the part where I want to be honest. A lot of people come to this town because they want to be stars, right? And there's no shame in that.
Mm-hmm.
If you are somebody who thinks you're beautiful, talented, whatever, and want to be a star, what is your advice for someone who wants to do all that stuff but not have to worry about survival? Like, how do you position yourself? Are you saying don't spend money looking cute and invest it instead? Like, what is your advice so that somebody can be in the position that you're in, that you can pick and choose and not be a slave to the system?
I think like, balance. Like, you shouldn't invest all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And not get your nails done ever. Your hair, like, girl,
don't look like the guy who she gave the clothes to. Yes. That poor man's gonna watch this episode and be like, that bitch. Are y'all still friends? Because you won't be after he sees this. Welcome to Humanized. So yeah, still look good, sis. Still look good.
No, but I'll tell you, the one thing that has I feel it has worked for me is that I have a great team around me.
Nice.
And I mean, yeah, I have like great friends and everything, but my team, like the people that I work with, and this goes from the person that does my nails to my hair to my makeup.
And your nails look amazing today.
No, thanks. They're my
I broke a nail
nails
in the bathroom, but her nails are busting.
But yeah, like I just feel like my team is amazing. Like the people that work with me, like they believe in me, they protect me, they kept me safe. Like it's really, there's a lot of predators in in our industry for women, especially young women that want to
are crazy in this industry. Yeah,
that want to women that want to go further, and there's a lot of that out there.
Casting couch and all types of craziness. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm lucky that I have found my team that has always kept me. How did you find your team?
Was it organic? Was it like an introduction? Because I'm at the point now where I'm just realizing that I need to create a team. Because I'm like, oh, I actually am unprotected. Like I'm just in these streets raw dogging it in Los Angeles. It's not a good look.
Right.
And so like, how did you naturally get introduced to people? Like, how did your team come about?
Yeah, it kind of happened when I started modeling. It happened overnight for me. I wasn't really expecting it, and so somebody that I was around offered to help me with so many emails and things I couldn't handle it myself, and thank God. And that was great. Then I ended up switching from that manager to another one, and from there to another one I met my publicist, and
oh, so it's almost like the network started introducing you to other people.
Yeah, but it's been great. And when I go to events, and my publicist, shout out to Echo Haddix, she's amazing.
Yeah,
from Echoing Sounds. Echo will if somebody's, I don't have to be mean to people.
Because she's
the one that says, okay, that's great. Yeah, you took your picture. Okay, great. When a guy is just holding my hand too long, you just don't want to let go. And she's just she comes with the machete. Okay, that was great. Thanks for coming. And it saves me from having to be the asshole.
It allows you to be you without having to worry about managing all that stuff. Yeah.
So
have a good team, still look decent, and invest some of your money in other things. Diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, I think that. Anyways, I mean, if you live in LA, nobody that I know here has one hustle. Everybody's doing 7.
Yeah.
And that's just to live comfortably. We're not balling.
Yeah.
So
the cost of living in Los Angeles, you would be considered rich somewhere else. In LA, you're just surviving. It's just regular.
Yeah, it's probably one of the only places where you can be a millionaire on paper and just be middle class, just living a very regular schmegular life.
When I moved to LA, there was a year where I did my taxes, and I was like, I made $250,000. That's so much, child. In Los Angeles, that's not a lot of money, unfortunately.
A salad here is $50. So.
Yeah, Rosa's the one who coined the phrase. LA has a $250 breathing tax. You leave the house, you got to pay $250 just to breathe the air.
Yeah,
which is really crazy to me.
You wake up, you open your eyes, and it's that was $200. You're like, damn. All I did was open my eyes.
Yeah, I'd be scared to leave the house. I'm I'm about to spend a couple $100 just leaving the house right now.
Yeah,
Rosa,
it's tough.
Is crazy. Our time is up.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy how it's just a conversation?
I'm coming back.
You have to come back.
Next time, I'm going to interview you.
Oh God, no, that's gonna. Rosa's question's gonna be like, so why Blue? No, I love that you were on the show, because the whole point of the show is to take big personalities, big topics, and just show that they're human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that people are going to be watching this episode who are going to be surprised by how approachable you are.
I don't know if
Rosa,
people
I
will
know
say
that
that.
this is bad for your PR,
But thanks.
but
Thanks.
I find you very approachable. And
Well,
again,
thank you.
this show's also an excuse for me to give my friends my flowers, and I cannot thank you enough for the way that you show up in my life, because a lot of people in this town, they're, I don't want to use the word bitter because that's not a nice word. A lot of people in this town are always like ego checking, right? Like they're always doing things that are good for their ego. I can tell you're doing things just out of the kindness of your heart. And that might not be a big deal to you, but that is huge out here. It's very rare out here. So I want to give you your flowers for being a decent, sincere human being, because unfortunately that's not the norm.
Damn, that sucks.
I know, it really does. It's a sad day. We're like, thank you for being decent.
You need to change your circle.
Well, here's the thing. I've recently changed my circle, and so now I have a lot of new people to thank. And I really do think, though, that like you back at the end of December of the past year, that dark moment, like you helped me out of that tunnel. And now I'm in the space where I'm meeting all these great people, and old friends who really have my back are coming back around. But we sometimes forget to thank folks who help us during that transition, right?
Well, I'm glad you're doing.
Oh, I'm doing
good.
great now. I had some meetings before this call that I'm very excited about. I'll wait until another show to share that. But
well, I'll ask you about those when I come and interview you.
Well, by the time you come and interview me, hopefully I will be even further in my fitness journey, and we'll be able to talk about whatever the hell's going on at that point.
I just feel like the next episode we should just do it in a bikini.
Yes, we're gonna do an episode by a pool. You know what we're gonna do at Rosa's house? We're gonna do an episode at Rosa's house. We're gonna have Lulu and Princess featured. You have like what looks like a sex swing above your pool.
It's not a sex.
It looks, Rosa. It looks like a sex swing above your pool. We'll talk about that.
It's not a sex swing.
You guys heard it here. We're doing a special episode at Rosa's house.
It's to practice for the Water Olympics.
Whatever you say, sis. This has been Humanized. For those who want to keep in contact with Rosa, where can they find you?
At Rosa Acosta on Instagram, and then you can hit the link in my bio for everything, all my businesses and all the.
Rosa does all the things. She has several hustles.
Yes, everything. I have something for each member of your family.
She really does. From your dog to your baby to your daddy to anybody who wants to trick on you.
Especially your daddy.
You know what? And this is where the gold digger thing comes in. Rosa is a good person, gold digger or not. Gold diggers have hearts, guys. And
yes, we do.
For those of you who want to find me, you know I'm at Bluecentric. And if you want to join our emotional intelligence workshops, please register now at ots22.eventbrite.com. That is ots22.eventbrite.com. Registration ends on May 29th. We start classes June 2nd. We have great conversations like the one I just had with Rosa. And please, on all the platforms, give us 5 stars and leave a review, because it helps us in the algorithm and pay these bills, because production is not free. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.